Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and thank you for joining me today as we are going to be discussing the difference between Botox, Dysport, and Jeuveau. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. So my name is Christina Monaco. I am the physician assistant that gets to work alongside Dr. Allenby. And today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the benefits, the differences between Botox that we have here, Jeuveau, and Dysport. So all of you guys probably at some point have had, or maybe you haven't, and you're a first time, you've never had anything, you're thinking about getting something for the first time, but these are what we commonly use in the practice as neurotoxins, as they'll be called. And they are, this one is onabotulinum toxin A. So this is toxin A, and this one is botulinum toxin A. So very similarly do they work, but different in the sense that, number one, they're all made by different companies. So Botox is made by a company called Allergan. Dysport is made by a company called Galderma. And then we have Jeuveau that's made by Evolus. So 3 different companies, 3 different studies, 3 different FDA, clearance because of different companies. However, they're all used to treat the same areas. Okay, so commonly people will get in between here, or we call them the 11s, okay? Then a lot of people will get their foreheads, the lines in their forehead, and then they can also have around their eyes that they are getting treated. So how do we know which one is best? And I feel like a lot of patients are so aware of Botox. It's like the mother of, neurotoxins. It's been around probably the longest. A lot of people come in and they say, oh, I get Botox done. Oh, I want Botox. But really, let's talk about the difference, in my opinion, how they differ and how they're similar. So they're similar in the sense that they're going to relax the muscle, right? Wherever we inject, you're going to have that relaxation of the muscle. That's why you don't get, when you go to raise your eyebrows or you go to frown, you don't have those lines noticeable at, with movement. The other thing that they're very similar is their longevity. Now, every patient is different, but indication says that they will last on average for 3 months. Some patients feel like they get more with one versus the other, and that is what would make these differ. But to be, quite honest with you, their indication for where you're having the treatment done is the same. So, Botox has been around, like I said, the longest. Galderma came out with Dysport, and I like Dysport because, in my opinion, again, this is my approach, it has a little bit of a wider spread. So the molecule is slightly larger and has a little bit of a wider spread on it. So I love to use this, especially in the crow's feet where people have a little bit more, deeper lines, if you will. And then when we talk about Jeuveau is probably one of my favorite for the millennial patients, or for the patient who really stays and maintains their treatment, so their lines aren't as deep, or they don't need as treatment as often. But nonetheless, they're all targeted to do the same thing. So how long does this truly last for? And I think that it truly lasts, like I said, on average 3 months. Some patients will get a little bit longer, maybe you get a little less, but I would say truly around 3 months. I know for myself, I can get anywhere between 4 to 5 months, but we have some patients that are consistently in our office every 3 months to get treatment. The other thing is, who is a perfect candidate for this, right? So anybody who's looking to either prevent the fine lines and wrinkles, okay, in their forehead, in between their eyes or around their eyes, okay? If you already are starting to notice lines at rest, if you have movement when you raise or frown or smile, men as well as women are candidates for this. And age, so the age I know is they did clearance up to 65. That doesn't mean that we don't have patients that come in that are older that are getting treatments. And honestly, I think that a lot of patients are coming in earlier in their 20s getting these treatments done. And in my eyes, that's fine. It's all about the prevention, right? Because let's say we have a patient that comes in their 40s or their 50s for their first treatment. You're most likely going to lead a lot more than if you started coming in your 30s and maybe you get more longevity out of it or you don't need as much. Which brings me to the next point. And a lot of people always say, well, how many units or how many this or how do I know what I need? Well, how do you know what you need? The best thing is to come into the practice and to have a consultation so that we can assess you properly. So, the units, they vary, they vary per area. And that's how we know what pricing is. And that's also how we know how much you need. It really just depends on you as an individual. But nonetheless, a quick consultation is easily, we could easily figure that out. So let's talk about what everybody wants to know also, pricing. Pricing, again, it really does depend on how much you need. Now, I will tell you that in our office, they pretty much all around the same price, Botox compared to Dysport. Right now until the end of June, till July 9th, I believe, we are doing Jeuveau for $150 per area. So that is a huge savings. And like I said, you could use this. I like this for the patient who is somebody who's well maintained, like a lot of our patients are. So this is great for you. Or maybe you're a first timer. This is also perfect for you. Or maybe, you have a tendency to drop, which brings us to what I'm going to be speaking about next. Side effects. Of course, anytime we do some sort of treatment or do anything, there's a side effect. So Jeuveau has a tendency to not drop as much, drop meaning feeling heavy. Jeuveau is one of the newer neurotoxins that's on the market, but not like, a month old. It's a year plus. So it's been around and we use it quite frequently. Now, everyone always has questions, like I said, side effects, and it's a very, legitimate question. I had a friend that, they'll say, I had a friend that got Botox and their eyelid closed. I had a friend that got Botox and their eyelids dropped. I had a friend that got Botox and, they had heaviness in their forehead. Listen, what's happening is the product is binding to the receptor, and there are certain landmarks that we as injectors need to follow, but some patients also just have a tendency to drop, okay? And unfortunately it does, and it can happen, but of course we do everything in our power to prevent it. But some patients just have a tendency to feel more hooded or heavy. So we like to take the approach that, we want to do less than we, in the beginning, and we could always add, because this does not have an agent to, erase or reverse it. Some fillers, you guys may or may not know, there's an enzyme that you can inject and, it can get rid of the product. These treatments, you just have to wait for them to wear off, and that's about 3 months time. So, we do have to worry about, and it's, it's something that we discuss, that there is a potential of a, what we call lidptosis. It's not very common, but unfortunately it is a possibility when we're dealing with a neurotoxin. Of course, because it's used with a needle, maybe some mild bruising, which we try not to also, because we're so fortunate. We have a vein finder here, this little light. You guys, if you've been seeing us at our practice, you know what this is. And the best part about it is that, you can leave here looking the exact same way that you did when you came in, maybe a few little dots where the product is. Maybe throughout the day, we say you may have a little headache. We say no bending down or doing any heavy lifting for at least 4 hours. And if you didn't go to the gym before coming in to get your treatment, I probably would wait until the next day to go to the gym. But other than that, it's very, very simple, and it's very quick, and it's very easy. And it's like a really good introductory to aesthetics, right? Looking good feels good, and we want to make sure that you're getting something that you're going to be happy with. So if you're looking to start getting into this world of doing aesthetics, this is a great way to get started. So either Botox, Dysport, or Jeuveau. And like I said, $150 per area until July 9th rather. So I think that, we covered who is this for. It's for anybody, men or women, up to the, FDA cleared up into the age of 65, but we do have patients that do come in. And I think the age varies because, again, of the muscle, and because, maybe you're not going to get as great of a result as if you're 80 versus 60. So that kind of goes without saying. I love to speak and preach about prevention and maintenance, which is why when I have a younger patient that comes in their 20s, I'm not opposed. I educate and I say, this is a prevention method so that the lines don't become deeper, so that you don't get those lines. What it is, well, it's a purified protein, okay? And I should mention that a lot of them come either in a powder form, so the vial, itself, it's mixed now, but the vial has a powder when it comes in, or maybe it doesn't, and maybe it's vacuum sealed. The bottom line is that it gets mixed with saline, okay? It gets mixed, and there is a ratio that that is to be used by the companies to get the liquid form. Okay, so it's a purified protein, all right? And once mixed, it becomes a liquid like you see here. We draw it up with a needle, okay? And the needle gets disposed, obviously, after each use. And it lasts anywhere between, on average, let's say 3 months. Some patients get a little bit longer than that, but on average, you're going to get about 3 months with it. And pricing and how much you need, it really does depend on having a consultation. So you could either come in to see us at the office for a consultation, or you can do a virtual consultation with me. So whichever you prefer, you can call our office 499-0299 to have that consultation scheduled. Last thing that I want to mention, Jeuveau, like I said, $150 per area until July 9th. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for learning a little bit more about the difference. They're really, to sum it up, the only difference in my eyes is patient preference. Okay, some people are just avid Botox users, or avid Jeuveau users, or avid Dysport users, and the other difference is the companies, right? So Botox is made by Allergan. Dysport is made by Galderma. Jeuveau is made by Evolus. And also, another difference is the particle size and the spread. So like I said, I think Dysport has a little bit more of a wider spread to it, which is why I particularly love it for men. I love it for deeper lines, and I love it for around the eyes. I think it's a great product for that. But I will say that they all are indicated for treatment in between your eyes and other areas that you guys commonly get. So thank you so much for joining. I hope that this was helpful, resourceful, and I hope to see you soon in the office. Take care, guys.